Hi there everyone, it's Ian from DIY Home and Gardening. I've been doing a load of seed sowing this afternoon as, well, to be honest, it's pretty miserable outside. It's been snowing all day, so yeah, just kind of trying to unwind a little bit whilst waiting for some other things to happen. But anyway, I thought I'd try and get ahead of myself compared to last year on sowing some sunflower seeds. So last year I grew these, which were giant yellow by Mr. I think. No, Saturn's, by Saturn Seeds. As I say, they got to about 5.5 feet. Admittedly, I was growing them in containers, as I tend to grow a lot of my seasonal stuff in containers. The one good thing with them was that actually, whilst they didn't get as big as I'd hoped for, they actually produced multiple flowers. So they produced the main flower, and then as that was going over, they produced a multitude of smaller flowers down the stem. So they actually lasted really well and was, well, good to look at. This year, I thought I'd try this Mongolian Giant. Never grown it before, hence the word try and grow it. As you can see, it's supposed to get to about 14 feet. Again, I don't know how it will do in a container, so only one way to find out, and that is to sow it and see. But you can see on the packaging it says sow in individual pots from April onwards. Well, we are February, loads of snow. Well, we've had a load of snow today, so kind of thought, yeah, I would do a bit of seed sowing, and I thought actually I'd try and just put in a few of these. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm literally just going to put half a dozen in as an early batch to see whether that makes a difference on final sizing. So that's what I'm going to do. Whilst I was doing other video on vegetable seed sowing, I did a bit of prep work. So that tray of compost already been filled, slightly compressed down. What I tend to do, for those you don't know, is that I always have compost indoors, so that way it's up to room temperature. The seed's not going to get any nasty surprises by the compost being soaking wet or freezing cold, and you will just get a better germination success rate from the seeds themselves. So anyway, compost in, filled, firm down. Obviously you firm it so you're not going to get air pockets which can turn to pools of water within the structure. I don't know whether you're like me, but I write my labels first because, quite frankly, when I'm sowing loads of different seeds, I end up getting muddled and forget what's actually gone into the tray or haven't gone in. And then I always try and just put the packet of seed with the tray itself, just kind of I suppose, habit from where we sow so many seeds at work, or always used to, for like prop wise. So anyway, all set out. I'm rambling a little bit, and simply just going to pop these into the compost. So here goes. Okay, just position the seeds into the centre of the tray. Choose your finger, or if you've got a dibber, use that. Doesn't really matter which. I tend to push them down about halfway down in height wise to the height of the cell itself, so you can see they're in there. Just get a little bit of compost over the top just to recover. Give it a firm as you go. Try not to get too much on the mat because the wife doesn't like that, but you can see it's pretty filthy already, so a little more won't make too much difference. And essentially that is that, and hopefully within a couple of weeks they should germinate and start popping up, and then we can well, have some fun, start to see what holds this season for the Mongolian Giant sunflowers. Here we are, we're 6 days on from having sown the seed. put in 6 seeds and 6 plants have grown. Took them out of the propagator this morning, so you can see they're still looking a little bit yellowy where obviously the seed casing was on them. So there we are, that's the variety, Mongolian Giant. So yeah, leave them to green up a little bit, form some decent structure, and once the roots have shown visible signs out the base of the cells they're in, then they'll come out and they'll be potted to the next stage. First 4 sunflowers have germinated of varying sizes. As you can see, it's kind of from that one that's nice and well, very stretched, to the one that's just coming up. There's 2 more that are only just sprouting that I've left in the propagator, so I'll just put in these split canes and then we'll tie them up to get them upright. So it's the biggest of the sunflower, Mongolian Giant. It's roughly about 18 inches high. Currently in a 9cm pot, so I'm going to put it into this 13cm pot or 1 litre and also re-cane it. So literally just going to put small covering in the base, like firm it down, and then when it goes in it's going to be buried a little bit deeper than it currently is, and that way hopefully you can see these little nodules there. Then they will then root into the fresh compost and get a sturdier plant. That lovely root ball. So we'll just get that in nice and gently, and then we will need to swap this out for a larger cane. So we will carefully remove this whilst holding the stem and replace with a taller one, so it'll end up going same spot, so you're not causing any more root damage. So although not done the potting up yet, you can see the pea stick that has been replaced with the new piece of bamboo cane. 2 tines now, so just gone above the leaf joints, then that way you know that it's not going to slip down and well, stop supporting it. So just got to fill around with the compost now. Right, there you have it, all put in, firmed around, so it's sort of gone around, worked around the edges, managed to reposition stem into the centre of new pot. Yeah, give it a light water in and let it grow again. Okay, so from a first batch of sunflowers, the Mongolian Giants, just 2 remain after I accidentally broke 2 whilst tying them in up the canes. So these are in what's classed as a 1 litre pot or 13cm, and you can now see that they've got a good amount of root formation full to the base, and they are nice and strong. Well, that's definitely the strongest, but pretty much 2 foot up. So now is time to pot up into the next size container. You basically want to keep potting as soon as the roots are established in the size pot it's in. Get it up to the next size, because that way you're not going to suddenly, well, cause the plant's growth to stall. So that's what we need to do. Knock it out this pot and then pot it up. Yeah, look at that root zone, complete with a bee somewhere, but so good formation root zone. So we'll put a little bit of fresh compost into the new pot and then top up. Alright, I'll just show you. So we've got about 1 inch of fresh compost in the base. Just going to stand this down into the pot, and we can backfill all the way around, make sure that obviously the root ball is firmed in. At this point slide the cane again down so it sits to the base of the pot it's in, and that way you're going to ensure that the roots will always be anchoring around it and forms a solid root ball. So just use your fingers firming around. It's quite a nice compost. This is Westland Jack's Magic, but it's quite a nice compost because it has a sand added to it already, so it works quite nicely. It's not too fibrous. And we end up with sort of a centimetre's gap between the rim of the pot and the finishing layer. You're coming up slightly higher on the root zone, which is good, so that means that this will root into the compost. So yeah, essentially that's the next stage of sunflower development.